Wow, what a great reading that is. And hi everyone, I'm Adam and I'm bringing you our talk for today's all age service. And I welcome you here today and I hope that we have a great time exploring the Bible together. And in today's Bible reading, we've learned a lot about one of the last things that Jesus says to his disciples. And John has told us in a really simple way that it can help us to remember this. And today I want to focus on that bit right at the end of our reading, where Jesus says to his disciples, "I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." And I think that's such an amazing passage. And what Jesus said was so simple, that we just have to love one another. But what does that mean? Because in our congregation and in our churches, I'm sure we do love one another. But let's explore how we can do that. And I think what Jesus said right at the end there, where he said that the way we love one another will be a representation to others in the world who do not know Jesus. And I think that this really reflects the love that Jesus has for us, because Jesus just loves all of us with all of his heart. And if we could show each other love, we can show everyone in the world what Jesus' love is like. But we've got to show it. We can't just tell people. I could sit here all day and talk about how amazing Jesus' love is. But for people to really understand it and to want to live it, they need to be shown it. And I got a couple of ways for us to explore this. And the first one is a story about my gran. Now, my gran was great. She was great at loads of things. You know, she was an amazing cook, really good cook. She had some really good food. She was great at reading to me. We just went on walks and adventures. It was great. But one thing she wasn't very good at was technology. And I remember that we'd gone and we'd bought her a new laptop. And we got her set up, she was using it, and the next day I had a phone call and she was asking me, "Adam, I've broken it. I don't know what I've done. I just can't log in." So I was sat on the phone with her for half an hour trying to explain how to log in and how to get onto her new laptop. And after half an hour of me trying to explain it to her and to tell it to her, we decided it would be easier if I came and showed her how to do it. So just after that phone call, I went around to her house and I showed her how you type it in and where to click and where your capital letter button is, and it took all of 30 seconds. But something so simple was so difficult to explain, and especially explain over the phone. And this is an example of how we can show Jesus' love. If we just tell people what Jesus' love is like, they may not understand it. They may not be able to do it. And we could do this in our schools or in our work, or with our friends and with our family. We could tell them all about the love of Jesus, but we need to show it. And another example is with my guitar. So this is my guitar. I love playing it and I know how to play it. I've learned. But there may be some of you watching who have learned or have no idea what to play. And if I were to hand you over my guitar and I was to say, "Here you go, play a C chord," and give you no instruction and just say it's a really good sounding chord, it sounds lovely, would you be able to play it? I could maybe tell you how to put your fingers, but that still may be difficult. Whereas if I were to hold the guitar and show you where I put my fingers, just like this, that would be easier to copy, and you would be able to make a lovely sounding C chord just like that. And these are two different ways that we can think about how we can show the love of Jesus, because we need to show it. But how do we show love? I wonder how you show love, especially in this time of social distancing and keeping away from each other. I know I found it difficult not being able to go up and to hug my friends and people at church and even members of my own family. And I'm sure that you have as well. Because I'm a hugger. I really like to show my love with hugs, but also food and good deeds These are all different ways that you can show your love for one another. But what I thought we could do is pause the video and just have a discussion with those around you and have a think about what your ways of loving somebody might be. Because I'm sure there's lots of different ones that I haven't mentioned and that I haven't even thought about. And it would be great if you could share that with the people around you and talk about it, and maybe even pick one that you can go and express to those around you. So pause the video right now. I'll wait right here while you do that, and I'll meet you back here in a minute. So I wonder what ways of loving people you thought you could do. Some that I have thought is just listening to somebody. Just having a listening ear to somebody who's having a problem is helping them. Sharing the things that you have with others, whether this is food or money or experiences, all of these things we can do, and it is so simple. We can do this in the playground. We could share our snack with a friend who doesn't have one, or in our workplace if somebody doesn't have their lunch or can't afford it. We can share ours or share our money with them. Giving what you have, forgiving people when they are sorry is another great way to love them. And not pushing someone away when they've done something wrong, and to remember that we all need God and we'll do things wrong from time to time, and we need to forgive people and come to God in those times. But I wonder what the Bible says about this. And on screen I'm going to put some Bible verses on and I'll read them out. And what I would like you to do is look at the screen and maybe close your eyes if you just want to listen, and think about what these Bible verses would mean if we were to do them in our everyday life. So I'm just going to put these words on the screen right now. And the first one comes from Galatians 2. Galatians 6 verse 2. And it says, "Carry each other's burdens, and this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." Matthew 5:42 says to give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from one who wants to borrow from you. Romans 12:13 says, "Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality." John 15 verse 12 says, "My command is this, love each other as I have loved you." And we can find that all the way through the Bible, of the way that Jesus loved others, Jesus healing on the Sabbath, Jesus giving his time to people who you wouldn't expect, like the Samaritan woman and sinners and tax collectors. All of these people Jesus gave his time to. And if we give our time to each other, we show the love of Jesus. Matthew 5:16 says, "In the same way let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." And one of my favourite verses as we talk about this is Matthew 25 verses 44 to 45, which says, "They also will answer, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or a stranger needing clothes, or sick or in prison, and did not help you?' And he replied," this is Jesus replying, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me." And Jesus is telling us that we must help all of those around us. And James 2 verses 14 to 17 says, "Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, keep warm and well fed,' but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is this? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead." So the Bible has told us so much about how we can love one another. And as a congregation, I want to challenge us all today to think about that. However old you are, if you are young and still learning to speak, or if you're slightly older, that's all right, because we can all learn, and we're all challenged by God each day to love others just as we are in our reading today. And the challenge that I have for us today is to keep showing our love for our congregation and for our church. Because if we show that love for our congregation with each other, we're showing that to the world. And it'll be so much easier to show that love to others who are not in the church, because those people deserve to come to know God too. So the challenge I have for us is there somebody in church that you feel might need a bit of love? Or you just want to share that love? Maybe it's offering to go for a walk with them, or just having a phone call or conversation, or sharing what you have with them, sharing food with them, sharing clothes with them if they need it. How can we love each other? Because there are so many ways that we can do that. So for everyone, I thank you for listening to this today, and I hope this has challenged you to think about how we show our love for each other, and how Jesus has called us to do that just before he started his journey to the cross. And I really pray that we'll be able to come together as a whole church family to be able to share that love one day soon. But I thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our service.